Mike, let's be very clear. Despite some speculation to the contrary, the Saints were always the preferred destination for Derek Carr.
That this is not just going to be a one and done here, that it's going to be multiple years with the Saints for Derek Carr.
The first domino in the NFL QB carousel has officially fallen. And this is a move that will completely alter the NFC and will have tons of consequences for QB needy teams this year. Derek Carr is officially signing with the New Orleans Saints, and the contract has just come in, and it is a whopping contract, a 4-year, $150 million contract. $60 million of that is guaranteed at signing. There is $100 million worth of guarantees altogether, and $10 million of his third-year salary is able to be vested after his first year with the Saints. So the Saints are essentially locked into Derek Carr for 3 seasons. They completely went all in on this guy, and now that we're getting reports around the NFL that Daniel Jones could command more than $40 million, Jimmy Garoppolo wants to get paid a lot of money. Derek Carr, because he wanted to sign with the team before free agency, went out of his way to sort of take a cheaper contract here, since this is only averaging about $37 million a year. But the key thing is guarantees, and Derek Carr wanted his guarantees, and now he knows he is locked into the Saints as their franchise QB for years to come. And this is crazy because Derek Carr was heavily rumored to go to the Jets, even to the point where Jeremy Fowler was saying that the Jets and Carr is almost looking like it's gonna happen. The feeling's mutual.
I'm hearing that the Jets are the leader in the clubhouse as of now for Derek Carr. This is mutual in the sense that the coaching staff of the Jets, I know, would be very happy with Derek Carr.
And Robert Saleh, the head coach of the Jets, could not help but just praise Derek Carr.
He's been asked to do a lot in his career. He's more in line with what Stafford's career has been in terms of, if you could just get him into a place that can surround him with all the pieces.
But things changed quickly this morning as Derek Carr finally made his decision, and this was a long process in which he was almost traded by the Las Vegas Raiders and even traveled to the Combine to talk to 3 different teams. We're gonna break down how this came to be and how this affects the rest of the NFL. Make sure you click that red subscribe button for more content. We know the Jets are possibly still waiting for Aaron Rodgers to come back from the darkness and sign with them. And it seems like the Packers really don't want this guy and they want to move on. And ultimately they took too long to make a decision, even though they were interested in Derek Carr, and Derek Carr decided to go with the team that had been consistently interested in him the whole time. And this is a Saints team that was never in on Aaron Rodgers. They only wanted Derek Carr the whole time, and now they got him for 4 years. He will be reuniting with former Raiders head coach Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen was the head coach at the time when the Raiders did draft Derek Carr in 2014. Derek Carr was selected in the 2nd round, coming out of Fresno State, where he lit up college scoreboards with teammate Devontae Adams. And we know things did not work out with Derek Carr and the Raiders because, quite frankly, they got an odd head coach last year. And this odd head coach, Josh McDaniels, did not let Derek Carr make adjustments at the line of scrimmage, which he was known to do under coaches like John Gruden.
Purple Walrus, LA! Purple Walrus. James Harden!
James Carr. There was just a difference of opinion as far as how to run offensive football, how to play offensive football. When you're a veteran quarterback, they want some control at the line of scrimmage. They want to be able to utilize their superpower. That skill wasn't utilized in Las Vegas under Josh McDaniels.
But now Derek Carr will be back in a West Coast style offense, the kind of offense that he ran while he was with John Gruden. And he'll be working with the sleeper offensive coordinator, Pete Carmichael Jr., who's been a part of the Saints as the offensive coordinator since 2009, working closely with Sean Payton. And so Derek Carr is expecting to regain the freedom at the line of scrimmage that he did not have last year with the Raiders, and he will be with the New Orleans Saints team that is ready to compete right now. And with Derek Carr, it looks to be the most complete team in the NFC South Division. And we had Saints players wanting Derek Carr to be the quarterback. You saw Cam Jordan hype up the idea of Derek Carr joining the Saints along with players like Demario Davis.
I mean, I've had decent conversation with DC. I like him as a person.
You have.
We were at the Pro Bowl last week. Was I actively recruiting? I don't know. I don't know where that lies.
But on the offensive side of the football, Derek Carr is going to need to chill some of his teammates out. Alvin Kamara was indicted by a grand jury for getting in this brutal fight in Las Vegas. And this fight with Alvin Kamara was in Las Vegas, so maybe Las Vegas is the problem and Alvin Kamara will chill out in New Orleans. But Kamara did not face a punishment for this last year, and many anticipate that he'll likely receive a suspension this year for at least 6 games. Derek Carr's primary target will be Chris Olave, the former first-round pick in 2022 with pick number 11 coming out of Ohio State. Olave was able to pick up 72 receptions and 1,044 yards last year, and that's with Andy Dalton primarily throwing him the football. Speaking of Saints quarterbacks, Jameis Winston is still under contract, and the Saints will likely release him. The Saints will save $4.2 million by cutting Winston, but they're going to eat dead money of $11 million, so they're actually losing money by moving on from this guy. The big question though is, what will the Saints do with wide receiver Michael Thomas? He's only been able to play in 10 games over the past 2 years due to injury, but the combination of him and Chris Olave with Derek Carr does sound deadly. However, based on the restructures in his contract, it's likely the Saints will release him to save money on cap space. But there is a possibility they do keep him on the roster, especially now that they have the quarterback situation settled. However, if they do keep him on the roster, they will enter an odd cap situation in 2024 where they will have to adjust some things. But we know originally Derek Carr did visit the Saints while he was under contract with the Raiders. What was odd about this is that the Raiders only allowed Carr to visit teams who agreed with trade compensation with them. And so we assumed the Saints had agreed with some type of compensation with the Raiders in order to talk to Derek Carr. And Derek Carr ended up ultimately turning down the offer, but it's crazy to see him eventually sign with the team in free agency. Maybe he just didn't want to have the Saints give up any draft picks for Derek Carr. By the way, the Saints have not used a first-round pick on a quarterback since 1971 with Archie Manning. And now they're able to keep their first-round pick this year that they received from the Denver Broncos by trading away the rights to Sean Payton. And now Derek Carr is very clearly the best quarterback in the division. As you can see right here, the Falcons only have third-round pick Desmond Ridder, Kyle Trask under contract with the Buccaneers, and I guess Matt Corral with the Panthers, but they'll probably draft somebody. And it just seems like this was the better spot for Derek Carr than the Jets. The Jets can't make up their mind as to what they want to do at quarterback. Yes, they have a great defense, but so do the Saints. The Saints low-key have tons of studs on defense, from Marshawn Lattimore, Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, Cam Jordan, and Demario Davis. This Saints defense is completely loaded, and Dennis Allen is also a defensive-minded head coach, similar to Robert Saleh with the Jets. And on the offensive side of the ball, yeah, the Jets have some good weapons. You do got Garrett Wilson, but outside of that, what do you really have? Yeah, you have Breece Hall, but he had injury problems last year. Who knows if he's 100%? And with the Saints, you have Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara, if he could stay out of trouble. Taysom Hill, he's still a good weapon at the tight end position. And then you also have Shaheed and Traquan Smith, some receivers you could possibly build around. And the Jets also have a very competitive division. You're gonna have to go through Josh Allen and the Bills, Belichick and the New England Patriots, and also Mike McDaniel, Tyreek Hill, and the Miami Dolphins. Derek Carr in the NFC South has a clear path to the playoffs for the foreseeable future. But the unfortunate thing is we won't get what we wanted, which was a Derek Carr versus Josh McDaniels matchup in 2023. That would have happened if he would have signed with the Jets, but unfortunately we'll have to wait for that. Either way, let me know in the comments below, how do you think Derek Carr is going to do with the New Orleans Saints? I think this is a good fit for both teams, and I also don't think the Jets have completely closed the door on what they want to do with Zach Wilson, so I also think Carr kind of overstepped the landmine by not going to the Jets. I think if he would have gone to the Jets, there still would have been this weird controversy happening since Zach Wilson was drafted so high by the organization. So I think this is a great spot for Derek Carr. Either way, like this video if you have not yet, and subscribe to this channel for more content. My name is WiFiWillie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.